Yo, SWAC talk. Light on the mic, it's a play. Seawell's the guy taking us state to state. Catch us Wednesday, Sunday, stats on the buffet. From Grand Darren to the court, we got the say. Football spirals, hoop dreams in the chat. Chopping it up, deep dives on every stat. Texas to Florida, repping border to border. Arkansas to Bama, the vibe getting warmer. SWAC talk, keep the knowledge on deck. Seawell spinning, wisdom gotta show respect. Facts flying higher than a wide receiver's check. From football to hoops, what y'all expect? Guests roll through, dropping stories untold. Legends from the SWAC spitting straight gold. Locker room vibe, secrets unfold. CW heavy like a championship hold. The South's got a rhythm, a culture to match. Each stat, each fact, another door latch. SWAC talk connects like a perfect pass catch. From Alabama skies to Florida's grass patch. SWAC talk, keep the energy alive. Wednesday to Sunday, where the legends thrive. Facts and stats sharper than a coach's knife. Ballin' on the mic, that's how we survive. Keep the energy alive. Wednesday to Sunday where the legends thrive. Facts and stats sharper than a coach's knife. Ballin' on the mic, that's how we survive. That's how we survive. Survive.
All right, everybody, what is going on? How y'all doing? Welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC. Seawell's coming at you, and today we're going to take a look back at the SWAC tournament. The 2025 SWAC tournament is in the books. We have crowned a champion, and that champion is the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, making their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2017 and winning their first SWAC tournament title. And it was a pretty exciting tournament, man. Like I had the opportunity to watch, bits and pieces of most games. Tournament back in Birmingham this season. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about that. But before we do, let's make sure y'all hit those socials. Facebook is SWAC Talk. Twitter SWAC Talk 76, Instagram SWAC Talk. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and share your thoughts on everything that's going on. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join up with the SWAC Talk fam, man. And don't forget we got SWAC Smoke coming on Thursday. For now until probably media day or so, we're going to be doing SWAC Smoke every other Thursday to kind of try to kind of give us a chance to come up with some fire stuff for y'all, not just throw shows at y'all on Thursday because we do it that way. So we're gonna kind of split it off a little bit and take a week off in between shows on Thursday. So y'all every other Thursday now up until media day we will be doing SWAC Smoke. And then any other thing come through, man. Y'all just make sure y'all hit those socials to know when all the videos drop, or hit that notification bell to be alerted to when those videos drop. Let's go ahead and jump into this tournament, man. And if I had to use one word to describe this tournament, it would actually be chalk. And if you're familiar with tournament with brackets and bracket talk, chalk is basically something that goes to form. And this tournament basically was chalk outside of a couple games. This was the first season that they did not have an East and West division. So they took the top 8 teams, regardless of division, and it still kind of worked out where you had 4 East teams and 4 West teams. So in that aspect, it still was the same, but the seedings were mixed up, and it gave you what you wanted. It gave you your top team against your second team in the championship. And honestly, all 4 teams that made the final, that made technically the Final Four, Bethune-Cookman, FAMU, Grambling, and Alabama State. Those were the top four teams in terms of standings for a long time. So um, it basically worked itself out the way that it probably should have. There was only one game early where the top seed did not win, and there were only two other games where the top seed did not win. So there was not a lot of there were not a lot of upsets in this tournament, which it's hard for the SWAC tournament because every now and then you do get teams make a run, but this season it didn't go that way. So let's look at the action in the tournament. The tournament started on Wednesday, May 21st. Bethune-Cookman got the tournament off to a roaring start, beating Texas Southern by a score of 5-3. Florida A&M beat Southern by a score of 9-1 in the following game. Alabama State beat Jackson State 7-6. And just to give you the seedings for these teams, Bethune-Cookman was the 1 seed, Texas Southern was the 8 seed, FAMU was the 2 seed, Southern was the 7 seed, Alabama State was the 3 seed, followed by playing the 6 seed Jackson State, who they defeated 7-6. And Pine Bluff was the 4 seed, and they lost to the 5 seed Grambling 13-6. So that was our only real quote unquote upset on the first day, and that was a 5-4 matchup, which is pretty much even teams. Going into the second day, Thursday, May 22nd, Jackson State Texas Southern played in an elimination game. Jackson State beat Texas Southern 12-6 to eliminate the TSU Tigers. In our first, honestly, I guess you could say our first real upset of the tournament, Southern eliminated Pine Bluff by a score of 17-11. Sending the Golden Lions home. They went 2-2 in barbecue in their first tournament since 2019. But I do have a feeling that team's gonna be in the tournament for quite some time as long as they hold on to their coach and their staff. Bethune-Cookman beat Alabama State on a walk off 9-8 to advance to the finals of that side of the bracket. And then FAMU beat Grambling 14-4 to advance to the I guess you could say the championship of that side of the bracket. In an elimination game on Friday, May 23rd, Jackson State dropped a 5-3 decision to Alabama State. Grambling destroyed Southern 16-2, eliminating the Jaguars. Bethune-Cookman beat Alabama State 8-7. I believe this was the walk-off game here. This game went 10 innings. They beat Bama State 8-7 to eliminate the Hornets, sending them to the championship game. And then Grambling in their second game in a day scored 13 runs and blew out FAMU to give themselves an opportunity to play for a chance to make the championship game. Friday was a big day for Grambling. Grambling scored 29 runs in 2 games on back-to-back outings. They were very, very hot on Friday. Their bats really came alive, and the pitching was very solid because they won 2 games in blowout fashion. So this was a team who was extremely hot on one day. And if you look at what Grambling did over the course of the tournament, they scored 13 runs in their first game. They did score 4 in their second game, but then they had 16, 13, followed up with 1 run against FAMU in the rematch on Saturday. Rattlers beat Grambling 9-1. In a game that Grambling had an early 1-0 lead, and just a lot of they had a lot of walks, base loaded walks. FAMU got a few unearned runs, but they were able to also tie that into some RBIs and some solid hitting, especially with Grambling's pitchers kind of being against the wall and having to basically throw things that could be hit because they didn't want to continue to walk guys. But FAMU took advantage of that and advanced to the championship with a 9-1 victory, setting up the Florida Classic on the diamond. And this game was another entertaining game. Bethune-Cookman won this one also in walk-off fashion with a 3-run home run. They were trailing this game 9-8, hit a 3-run shot, and won this game 11-9 and won the SWAC championship. So all in all, this was a very entertaining tournament. If you came into this tournament looking for, like I said, low-seeded teams to win, you didn't really get a lot of that. Now you did get a lot of offense. There was really only 1 game where a winner, well, 2 games where a winner scored less than 7 runs. So everybody who won really put the runs on the board. Um, there weren't very many low scoring, pitchers duels. There was a lot of games where teams kind of, had to, throw arms out there to kind of keep things going. And you had a couple games where the team jumped out big and the other team made a good rally, including back to back games. Um, you know, there were two teams trail 7-0 at one point in games that both came back. So there was a lot of offense. The ball seemed to be jumping out of the park a lot in this tournament. There was, like I said, there was a lot of big swings and momentum in it. And it really was what you want. If you want to see your top team make it to the championship, that and advance. That's exactly what we got here. And you ended up with the top two teams playing for the championship, and your top team won. So all in all, this was a good tournament, and I do. And it took a little getting used to earlier this season because it's different. You follow in baseball. You're doing East and West divisions. You don't really see those guys on the other side until you get to the tournament, unless y'all play like a non-conference game earlier in the season or something like that. But now, knowing that you have to face these teams, it will bring more familiarity between both sides. Because, like I said, there's a lot, there's I've been a long stretch of time where you didn't really see the East side if you was a West team until you got to the tournament. So now you're gonna have more of these teams playing against each other, and I think with the previous format, um, you wouldn't have gotten a great. I'm not saying you wouldn't have gotten a great championship, but you wouldn't have gotten what you got here because the top two teams were on the same side. So that allows for a better championship game, and that made for a really entertaining outing. And like I said, I really enjoyed this tournament. I hope a lot of people else did. Um, Crowds weren't huge, but they were spirited and into the game. And it was just, like I said, it was just really good. And I hope everybody had opportunity to kind of watch and keep up with it. And moving forward, I think this is the way to go. So I really, like I said, I really enjoyed it. Um, and I'm looking forward to next season. But this season, let's take a look at a couple other things in the actual tournament. Um, do they have the? I don't know if they even have it listed. They let's see. I want to see if they had the all tournament team up, but I'm not seeing it. Y'all give me one second. All right, we're gonna run through the all tournament team and give these guys their due. Uh, First off, we have Juan Cruz from Alabama State, followed by Cameron Douglas, also from Alabama State, Cameron Hill from Grambling, Trey Bridges from Grambling, William Brown from Florida A&M, Colton Riles from FAMU, Cody Williams from FAMU, Justin Cruz from FAMU, uh, Jeter Polito from Bethune-Cookman, Sergio Rivera from Bethune-Cookman, Edward Sanchez from Bethune-Cookman, and Daniel Figueroa from Bethune Cookman. Those were all tournament team members. And so, like I said, this was a big, just a really good outing for Bethune Cookman, and they win the SWAC championship, and they advanced to the Tallahassee regional. Um, Bethune Cookman heads to that regional with a 37-21 record. Uh, Extremely hot in conference play, and like I said, they head to the Tallahassee Regional, um, and they take on. They will be the 4 seed in that regional, along with number 1 seed FAMU, uh, number 2 seed Northeastern, and number 3 seed Mississippi State. So running through the schedule of this tournament, obviously the regionals are double elimination. The winner of each regional moves to the super regional. Um, in this case, the Tallahassee regional will play uh, the Corvallis regional, which is Oregon State. That whoever wins that game will travel for that super regional. So basically, game one. will be on Friday at 3 p.m. And that's Florida State taking on Bethune-Cookman 3 o'clock on the ACC network. So you want to watch that game, you can catch it there. Game two is Mississippi State versus Northeastern. That game is also on Friday. These times are Eastern time, so there's a 2 p.m. Central time first pitch, followed by 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 6:30 p.m. Central time. That game is on ESPN Plus. The first elimination game will be on Saturday at noon. TV to be determined, and that will be the loser of game one versus the loser of game two. Game four will be the winner of game one versus the winner of game two. That also is Saturday at 6 p.m. Sunday, you have your second elimination game, which is the loser of game four versus the winner of game three. Uh, that game is on Sunday at noon on the ACC network, uh, followed by uh, game six will be the winner of game four versus the winner of game five. That game is on Sunday at 6 p.m. TV to be determined. And then the regional championship game will be that would be your championship at 6 p.m. And if necessary, if somebody if both teams come out of game six with one loss, the championship, the second, I guess you say the championship part two would be Monday, which is game seven, and that'll be the winner of game six versus loser of game six. And that's if necessary, that'll be Monday, time to be determined, TV to be determined. So that's basically where we stand with Bethune-Cookman. Like I said, their first game is on Friday. At 2 p.m. Eastern, so 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to check that out on the ACC network, you can see it there, and then follow the Wildcats as they make their way through this Tallahassee regional. So again, salute to Bethune-Cookman for winning the SWAC championship and making the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. This is their first SWAC baseball championship. And so, like I said, we'll be back this week with some more content. And of course, Thursday, Swag Smoke live 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And with that being said, man, I'm up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Memorial Day, and we will catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.